Can everybody hear me? If you see me talking and you can't hear me, let me know. And already got some thumbs up. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like the video, guys. Helps out everything, as you know. So it is December 17th. That's right, December 17th here in Zone 5B 6A, Northern Indiana. And there is not a lot happening in the actual garden right now, obviously, because it is wintertime and nothing is growing here over the wintertime. So in our zone, in Northern Indiana, we're not overwintering anything, really. Like a lot of places you see, oh, you can grow them over the winter, like green onions or, you know, a number of different things. Oh, they're a good winter crop. Not for us. And I'm sure not further up north either, because nothing is growing over winter here, okay? So, good morning, Ingrid. Good morning, Trish in the Piedmonts. Hey, Aaron says, hey, dude, love your content. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Aaron. I definitely will be doing that because the channel is only not even a year old. Yeah, I just began it in the spring, and so we are just getting our roots established, we could say. Yeah. Aaron says, nice little piece on indoor plants recently. Thank you very much. I'm glad you saw that. Yes, a lot of people have been asking about the plants, and so I figured I would just say, you know, here you go, and these are the plants. And I think it's important to be able to show, it's almost like showing your resume. You know, it's like, okay, look at the plants. So that proves that I at least know what I'm talking about when it comes to house plants. That's important to me when people do that kind of thing. Robert, good morning. Pretty frosty here. Oh, and Ingrid, you're frosty too there in Oregon, right? Good morning, Crystal. Good morning. I'm trying to make space for a couple of them plants. I don't know if I can take all of them, but my friend wants me to babysit some plants because she's like, well, hey, you are the plant guy. I'm like, yeah, but my house is packed to the hilt with plants already, but I can always take a few more. So, busy girl, good morning. Jason, good morning. Nate, thanks for all your help and tips. You're greatly appreciated. You're very welcome, my friend. Thank you for telling me that. It's always nice to feel appreciated. And Ingrid says, yes, the plant video was good. Yeah. And, well, I got a number of things I'm going to show you guys today, so we'll get into that here. Successful garden design. Hello, good morning, Rachel. Even snow in sunny southeast of England. Snow in the southeast of England? Wow. It's usually pretty temperate there, I would think. But it is that time. Hopefully we have a white Christmas here. The temperatures are going to be quite cool for Christmas Eve and Christmas. It's supposed to be a high of 12 degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's pretty cold. And then a low of 6 and then a low of 3 on Christmas Day. So that's pretty cold. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's cold. Graham, good afternoon, evening, where you are. Good evening, Nate. YouTube kicked me out again. Yeah, well, you're something of a rebel, aren't you? Because you got to update your system. And eventually, everything's just going to stop working without updating your system, okay? So trust me, I know. I tried to stay out of it for a long time, but the stuff just won't work anymore. So good morning, Val says, good morning, Nate, 10 degrees here. Loved your house and the plants. Good morning to the gang. Yes, I love the house plants because it is... well, here's why I really got into the houseplants a number of years ago is because I came from living in the mountains in Northern California, like I say all the time. But there's the summertime where it's dry, bone dry, it doesn't rain one time. Everything turns brown. And then, but come winter time, which is really just the rainy season, it rains for like 6 months nonstop. I was in Humboldt County. And so it rains for like, it's rain and fog and beautiful for like 6 months nonstop. And it barely dips below freezing at all. So the winter time is a time there where everything is exploding with growth. The redwoods and all the moss comes back and everything. And there's like waterfalls all over the place. And everything is so luscious and growing and thriving. And then I came back to Northern Indiana abruptly in 2018. And was like, wow, man, you come back here and all the trees just look dead because there's no leaves on them, and we don't have conifers, we don't have redwood forests and all that stuff here, and it's just wide open farmland because we've wiped out all the trees so that we can have wide open farms. And it was just like, oh, and the air was so cold. It was like negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit that winter. The first winter I came back, we had a week where it was like in the negative 20s Fahrenheit. And so I was just like, oh no. So I had to get things growing inside the house. And it was like a savior to me. Because once I saw the stuff growing, it was like, oh man, it comforted my soul again. I was like, okay, so everything's not been wiped out. There's still life. It's all good. So that's, and then from then on, I just really went over the top with it, of course, like I do everything. Let us see, my friends. Heavy Groover, JHS today. Really, what kind of herbal solution are you making? So, JMS was amazing after only one application. I'm a believer. Making some JHS. Okay, some herbal solution. Yeah, the JMS is really incredible. It's really fantastic. And that is one of the questions I got from you guys. I think Sylvia mentioned it in one of them. And she said, I'm still not clear on the difference between the labs and the JMS and when to use either. And I know you guys have heard this before, some of you, but remember, repetition is the key. And so the labs is a really particular type of bacteria. It's the lactobacilli, which is many different kinds, but they all fall in the category of lactobacilli. And they all function in a certain way. And so they do certain things for the garden and for the soil and for our ferments, definitely. But the JMS, the microbial solution, is a wide diversity of local indigenous microorganisms, which are the ones that we want in our garden, and which are ultimately the ones, if you had to only choose one, definitely the JDOM microbial solution, okay? That's the most important one because it's giving us the microbes that are already cultured and conditioned to our specific environment, and that's important. So the labs, on the other hand, is for particular things. One, it's for anything that we want to ferment for ourselves to eat. That's what we use the labs for, because we don't eat stuff with the microbial solution. But with the labs, then you definitely can eat it, okay? And because the lactobacilli, they digest the starches and stuff inside of whatever, the cabbage, for example, and their byproduct is lactic acid. And so nothing else can survive in the lactic acid except the lactobacilli. And so that keeps all the spoilage bacteria and stuff out. And that is why the labs is good for starting our ferments and stuff like that. It's also really good at unlocking the nutrients that are stored within the soil. In particular, our houseplants. That's why I use labs on the houseplants. For the houseplants, if you're only going to use one or the other, use the labs, not the JMS. Because the labs is going to unlock the nutrients that are stored up within the soil. And the labs have the capability to sort of reinvigorate and cleanse the growing medium of the chemical fertilizers, okay? So hopefully that helped to describe the difference a little bit more. The difference between what you use or when you use it is that the labs we can use and we can eat the stuff. The JMS we don't eat. For the most part. I mean, not directly. Okay, Ikhlas Ahmed says, my question is, can we use it in our JLF? And will it fulfill my micronutrient requirement too, as it's rich in zinc, copper, potassium, calcium? It also contains 11 different types of amino acids. Need your advice, please. Use what? So let me see here. Use what? Okay, but oh man, when you see its nutritional values, it's way better than wheat in many ways. Okay, class, you gotta be a little more specific, my friend. Okay. Val says, did you do a video on growing seedlings indoors? If so, I missed it. Wonder how I will do this in a very small area. Seedlings, so you mean like seed starting? Because that is coming in the future. We're still quite a ways away from starting seeds here. Long way away. It's not even actually technically winter yet for another 4 or 5 days. So no, that's going to be coming. Like the very first thing that we're going to be starting is in January, we're going to be starting the ginger. Yeah. We're going to be starting the ginger in January and the onions in February. And then it will be in March or so that we'll be doing things like the sweet potatoes. Because I'm going to do, now that I've got the footage and stuff and the ideas and the concept, so I'm going to do a complete how to grow sweet potatoes from sweet potatoes, even in cold environments. I'm going to do a complete guide on that, which will be a really good video if you want to grow sweet potatoes. Because even in zone 4 and 5, you can still grow sweet potatoes. You just have to prepare properly, and I will show you how. But the ginger, you can also grow ginger too. Here, zone 5B, I couldn't believe it. But so the past few years, it took me a number of different experimentations, and I did a few things wrong, but then some things right. So now finally, I found a way. I know it's going to work. Okay. Outdoors Greg, hello, my friend. And let's see. Hello, El Cajon, California, zone 10B, checking in for the first time. Former HSU student, 97 to 01. Love the vibe you create here. Thank you very much, my friend. Yes. Former Humboldt student. Good to see you. I was obviously not a Humboldt student, but well, in many ways I was, but not of the university. I was definitely a student of Humboldt, though, no doubt. So, yes, Val would love to do ginger. Hello, Miss KC. Robert says, can liquid whey be used as labs since it is also lactobacillus? I am referring to milk kefir whey from cheese making. Now, it's not exactly the same thing, though. So, and it depends what type of cheese making you're doing. So there's two ways to make the cheese. And one way is with something like the rennet or Rene or Renault, I don't even know how to say it, but something, or a coagulant. You could also use lemon juice. You could also use vinegar. Now, anything that you add something and then it coagulates the proteins, that is going to produce what we call whey, but it's nothing like the whey that comes from the labs. Because in the way where we add something, that lowers the pH so that the proteins will coagulate. But when we make the cheese through the labs way, that is through a microbial process. And so the microbes, the lactobacilli, digest the milk proteins. And then the byproduct is what creates the environment where the proteins are then curdled and formed. So they're two totally different things. On the one hand, if you use the rennet or the acid, then that is not really living. That whey is just a byproduct, but it doesn't have anywhere close to the microorganism activity that the labs does. The labs, on the other hand, is bursting with life, both the liquid and the cheese. So two very different things. I get that question a lot, but they're very different. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I think they're asking about growing the microgreens indoors. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. We just don't call those seedlings, but definitely the microgreens, yes. I got my setup and all of that, and those videos will be coming pretty soon. Yes. The microgreens. And so hopefully you've got some seeds, and I will show you a number of different ways to do that. So I set up those lights. Remember I told you I got those Barina lights, I think. They're the real popular common, it's like standard lights. So I got those set up, and we'll see what they do. They're not very impressive, I can say. I think I'm gonna have to use maybe 3 strands per shelf instead of just one of the shop lights. So I don't know how much you're really saving in energy or anything like that. In fact, well, I do know, I calculated out, but we'll see. Okay, Lonnie says, I'm getting a truckload of cow chips tomorrow. Should I go ahead and spread it over the garden, and should I till it in now? Lonnie, a truckload of cow chips. Wow, where do you live to get that? So it's a truckload of cow patties, basically? That would be cool. So you can do it a number of ways. If you're into tilling, then you could do that. You could till it all in now. If you keep the soil covered, what zone are you in? I mean, how long do you have? Are you in one of the more temperate areas? Okay, yes, and Texas. Okay. So then, yeah, I would go ahead, if you till, if you're that kind, I mean, if you did no till, you could just put it all over the top of it, and let it ferment, or I mean, let it all bake together like that, okay? So if you do till, though, if you have the tiller and that's part of the program that you're planning on doing, then yes, you could till it now, because you don't really have all that long until you can start planting. And so yes, I would add the cow chips. I would add, if you have leaves, leaf mold of any kind, I would add that then, and till it in real nice, and then inoculate it with some of the brews. The Jadam microbial solution is going to be what you want. Spray it real nice, and then preferably keep it covered in some way. So if you have a huge tarp, go ahead, tarp the whole thing, or put cardboard over it and put logs on top of the cardboard, or put a thick layer of leaves over the top of it, because you do not want to till it and then leave it exposed to the elements. Lonnie, plastic. Yes, yeah, if that's what you have, you can use plastic. You can use, yeah, like a tarp of any kind. It's better than leaving the soil exposed. Okay, way better, because that's the last thing you want to do is till it and then leave it exposed. So if you tilled in the cow manure and some leaves or whatever else you can get, okay, you got a ton of leaves, fantastic. Okay, so if you got access to the cow manure and the leaves and you plan on tilling, here's what I would do. Lay it all out in the shape that you want the garden to be, and then till it in real good. Also, if you could add some ash at this time, that would be really good. If you have wood ash of any kind, or ash from burning bones as well, that's all really good. Add all that stuff then, till it all in, and then put a thick layer of leaves over the top of that. And that's gonna be the best. So you don't gotta tarp it or anything like that. And then you don't touch it again. And you don't till in the springtime either. You would just go and move that stuff aside and plant right in, move the leaves aside, the thick layer of leaves, and plant right into that earth underneath. And you wouldn't till. And that would be pretty good. You'd be setting pretty good, okay? Yes, okay, so you have tons of fireplace ash. Look at that. You've got tons of fireplace ash, you've got tons of leaves, and the cow manure. So you are set. So add all that stuff, mix it all in, cover it with a thick layer of leaves, good to go. Inoculate several times with the Jadam microbial solution. Okay, liquid whey from raw unpasteurized milk, as the milk separates to curds and whey is filled with live bacteria. Yes, and that is a different kind of whey than what we are talking about from the labs. And okay, my question is, man, class, you're asking partial questions. I can't read it. Okay, oh, they are referring to the liquid whey from raw milk. As it sits, it separates to curds and whey. Oh, is that what they're referring to? Then yes, that is exactly the same thing that I'm talking about. Okay, G4G says the person I was talking about, they're referring to the liquid whey from raw cow milk. As it sits, it separates into curds and whey. Yes, that is the same thing. That is labs. So go ahead and use that. I mean, it is labs. So let's see. I want to answer Ikhlas's question if I can see it, though. So hold on, guys. Okay. What is the first part of the question? So I got to go back up here. I love that you guys are here. Okay, my second question is about velvet mesquite plant. Prosopis velutina. A small to medium-sized tree. It is a legume adapted to a dry desert climate, though considered to be a noxious weed in many ways. Okay, so let's see. Then he says, then, man, there's a lot of questions today. This is awesome. I'm trying to get to, oh, well, sorry. Okay, my question is, can we use it in our JLF? And will it fulfill my micronutrient requirements, as it's rich in, it also contains 11 different types of amino acids? Okay, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to use it in your JLF, because if it contains all of those things, I'm not familiar with the plant that you're talking about, though, in particular. But it sounds like it would be, if you know that the nutritional composition is rich in those minerals, then you definitely can use it. Now, what are you going to use it on? If you're going to use it on that particular plant, that's ideal to make the liquid fertilizer out of that particular plant that you're going to feed back to it. That is the ideal. But I don't know enough about that plant to give you a super confident answer. So I don't know if it's like comfrey, where it's just generally really loaded with a lot of nutrients, you know. But if it's a legume, then yes, you could add all of it. It would help with the nitrogen. It would also have the good rhizobial bacteria. Okay. Jeremy Ransom says, thank you so much. In a past video of yours I watched, you mentioned the fog coming up through the redwoods. Thank you for pulling that memory back into my brain. Oh man, I know exactly what you mean. It is. I used to sit, because I had to wake up every morning at 4:30 and go and pull tarps. And I would watch the sun come up, and the fog would come in over the mountains from the ocean. The fog would come in over the mountains like it was a tidal wave. You could literally see the fog like go over the mountains, go over the ridge, and it would come in and just saturate the whole place so that you couldn't see anything. It looked like a pond, like a huge, massive pond. The fog was so thick. And then as the day went on, the fog would roll back like that, back into the ocean, or back like that. It was just awesome. And every morning the redwoods would just drink in the fog, and it would start dripping a bunch of water all over the place on my teepee. It was great. Yeah. So let's see here. Decon. Sup, Nate? What's up, my friend? So, hello from Paul. What is that flag? Is that Italy? Blue, white, and red. What flag is that, guys? And let's see. I Run Amok says, I have tons of fireplace ash. Is there such a thing as too much for a garden? I'm tossing some of it down in different area because I don't want to ruin my compost bin or garden. Well, as with anything, the good and the bad are one. They're opposite ends of the same thing. And so, of course, if we added a lot of France, flag of France. Thank you. Sorry about that. Italy, France. Okay. It's all Europe to us, to Americans, even though I've been around to all those countries. But anyways, the fireplace ash, yes, there is an upper limit. I mean, you can add too much, no doubt, but it would have to be a lot. So you can add quite a bit. So how much are you talking about? So if you had, let us say, for example, if you had a 5 foot wide by 10 foot long garden bed, and I would feel comfortable putting, if you're doing it over the wintertime, I would feel comfortable putting a full 5-gallon bucket, a full 5-gallon bucket of ashes, all in that bed, letting it rain in there for a few weeks or a month, letting it all saturate in there, and then even putting another 5-gallon bucket. Okay. And that's in a 5 by 10. And I would say that'd be maximum, but I would be comfortable doing that. I would do that. And so you can add a lot of ash, man. That's the old school slash and burn. They depended on all that ash and stuff. So it's, I would say, to be safe, go with in a 5 by 10, a 5-gallon bucket, or even half a 5-gallon bucket. Or okay, we have a wood stove. I Run Amok says, I have a wood stove that runs 24/7, and I get a 3-gallon bucket probably twice a week. My garden is 20 by 20 feet, and then a separate compost bin. Okay, so I would add that ash. That's a lot of ash. Okay, good. 3-gallon bucket twice a week. So at 20 by 20, you can pretty much just keep dumping that in there. I actually wouldn't dump it into the compost pile though, because the compost, unless you've got a massive compost heap, is too concentrated. And so, and it's not a biological thing. The microbes are not going to break that down anymore. That's why the ash fertilizer is the only one that we don't add the leaf mold to. We don't add the microbe because that's not a microorganism activity kind of thing. That is already in its most basic state that it can possibly be in. So it's not living. And so it's all about, it's a nutrient, a mineral solution. And that is why it's the, if you wanted to make a liquid one for use in the springtime when the plants are in the ground and stuff, then you can make it all up. Listen, guys, I've got this question a lot. You can make the ash fertilizer where you put the ratio in there. You can make the ash fertilizer and then just leave it for indefinitely. It doesn't go bad because there's no microorganism activity happening. So you can just skim off whatever you need when you want to use the ash fertilizer. Okay. the liquid one. But for you, I would say 3-gallon bucket twice a week, so 6 gallons a week. That's quite a bit, but within reason, you know. I mean, I would be comfortable doing that 10 times, no problem. 6 gallons a week, yeah, you'd be all right. But just also, hopefully, you've got other nutrient sources in there, and that's really important. So, okay, I thought putting ash in compost would give it time to become less caustic, possibly, but I'll dump it in the garden from here out. Yeah, it won't do like that. The ash is not going to break down any further. It will leach out. The ash is really water soluble, so most of the nutrients will wash out. That's why it's not good to go to like an old fire pit and scoop that out and think that you're getting all the good stuff, because most of the good stuff is actually washed out already. That's why when we make the ash fertilizer, we can make it in a 5-gallon bucket and then it'll all settle. A lot of it will settle. You'll see at the bottom, there'll be a thin layer of ash, but the solution, all the minerals are already suspended in the ash. And that's why if you take it and you rub on it, it'll make your hands super slippery. It's old school soap, you know, because all the minerals are in the solution suspended. So, okay, I Run Amok says tons of leaves will also go into the garden too. Fantastic. So you're going to add the ash, you're going to add the leaves. Then I would just, if you wanted to be ideal, I would add a heavy nitrogen source. So if you could get some chicken manure, make a tea out of that, or make like a JLF over that, and spread that, spray that over the leaves and all of that. Also some JMS. It's all going to be good. Mr. Teacher says, greetings from St. Croix, Virgin Islands. Hello, my friend. What are you guys growing there? Man, you probably you can grow all kinds of stuff, can't you? All year round, no problem. Let's see. One of my gardens is 24 by 85 and another one 30 by 30 for my potatoes. Well, you like your potatoes, definitely, huh? So let's see here. Oh yeah, there was somebody up here. Let me go back up here. Okay, it's me. $10, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate the contribution to the cause. He says, happy holidays to all. Best thing to charge biochar with? That's a great question. And the best thing to charge biochar with is the JDOM microbial solution. A good strong batch of that. And add the fish fertilizer at the same time. That is really good. The most important thing beyond everything is the microbial solution, okay? And the fish fertilizer is going to help to feed those microorganisms. But that's what we want to do with the biochar. When we make it, we want to literally full strength JDOM microbial solution. We want to make that and let it soak and saturate in there for a number of days or however long, a week, until it's saturated. And then you will pour it out. That's what you really want, okay? Let's see. Nita says, please check my message. It's gone up. Okay, I will try. Laura Green, $50. What is that? New Zealand dollars? Wow, nice. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate the contribution. That's NZ, right? New Zealand dollars. That's what I thought. You're in New Zealand? I didn't. Okay. Yeah. Can you soak dying leaves in water to make fertilizer? Can you soak dying leaves in water to make fertilizer? You can, yeah. Although the leaves by themselves, you want to add different sources of more nutrients, because the leaves will take a long time to break down in water. So add some weeds and something with a nitrogen source in it. A couple shovels of chicken manure or some urine. Add the urine as well. That would help. Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Okay, let me try and find your question. Good morning, Sweeping Page. Hello. Nita says, hello. Can we use rice wash and diluted buttermilk with no fats to enrich soil when plants are growing if you don't have labs? Okay, can we use rice wash and diluted buttermilk with no fats to enrich soil? Now, I'm not in the buttermilk. Well, you wouldn't need the rice wash. The rice wash, that leads me into, okay, I'm going to answer that question through another one of the questions, okay, that I've got from you guys. So someone has sent, let's see here. If somebody has, Well, someone asked me if they could add rice syrup, to bolster the activity of the rice wash for the labs. But here's what I want to say about the labs and the rice wash. The reason that we do the rice wash is because the rice wash is a very weak source of nutrients for the lactobacilli. So the ones that we capture and the ones that we are culturing, only the strongest strains of the lactobacilli can survive in the weak nutrient solution of the rice wash water. That way, when we add those to the milk, which is a really rich source of nutrients, then we are going to culture only the strongest strains of the lactobacilli. Because there's like 20,000 different types of the lactobacilli. And so we want only the strongest, most vigorous ones. And to do that, it's very important that we just use regular, benign rice wash water. Okay? But that's the only reason that we do that, is so that we can capture the strongest ones, so that when we then add them to the rich solution, they're going to just go crazy. That's how you make the real strong, good stuff. Okay? So that is why. Hopefully that answers the question. I don't have enough experience with the buttermilk. I'm sure that would definitely help. I mean, it's a byproduct of the milk process. So yeah, go ahead and use it. Definitely. Let's see. Jason says, I have tons of fermenting olives in piles and was going to collect and spread around the gardens as well as put in the compost piles. Perhaps any suggestions to make a liquid fertilizer for spring? Wow. Now, liquid fertilizer for olive trees would be wonderful. But you guys in Greece, you've got all your olive, you've got the olive growing down for sure. But I don't know anything specifically, just because I do not that much experience with olives, as far as growing and stuff like that. When I lived in Greece and traveled through Spain and all of that, my favorite thing to eat is olives in all its different forms. But I've not grown them, so I don't know. So Ken Dexter says, Vikings did gardening up north here in Norway. Just bought me a mini farm. What sweet potato strain is best for far north? You got a mini farm in Norway? Man, that sounds awesome. Well, if I ever make it to the motherland, I will have to look you up, my friend Ken. So what sweet potato strain is best for the far north? Now, I don't know what you mean by far north, but you can grow, they make the purple sweet potatoes, and those tend to finish faster. But how long, okay, Ken, how long is your growing season? Do you know? And what zone is it? Because that will determine. Now, sweet potatoes don't actually, you just have to start them up. If you're in the further north you are, in the shorter growing season you just have to start them up in enough time. And so most people will take the slips from the sweet potato, split them off, put them right into the ground, and then grow them that way. And that's ideal. But if you, okay, Ken says, you are welcome. I live above the Arctic Circle from April to October. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I knew a guy that had a tourism business on, Svalbard, a island in the far north. That's right, Dag. Dag was his name. I met him in Pushkar, India. You are welcome. I live in the Arctic from April to October. Okay, from April to October. That is your growing season? That's longer than ours. So that's cool. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Okay, plenty of time. So you can grow any of them. Okay? Okay, by the coast. I live in Viking Lofoten. Nice, man. That sounds really cool. It's warmer by the coast. Yeah, man. So is there a lot of land up there or what? Is land expensive? Land's probably really expensive there, isn't it? But you could then use any of the sweet potato varieties. What I would do if I were you is go to a local farmer's market anytime now and gather multiple of the sweet potatoes that the people in the area are already growing. That's important because the local farmers markets, they will already be growing ones that are adapted to your area. And so a lot of land and cheap. South is expensive. Okay. By the coast sounds wonderful. If you got that long of a growing season, then probably a nice intense winter. They probably get a lot of snow, I would imagine, like deep snow, where the kind where it blankets once the snow comes, it doesn't melt until spring, right? So yeah, go to the farmer's market and get the sweet potato strains that they are growing and then sprout them that way in the soil method. Or I made a video on how to do it in the water, but this upcoming year, I'm going to show you the way I used last year. That is far superior to the water method, far superior and quicker. And it produces more vigorous shoots, more vigorous slips. So I'll be making a video on that, but I didn't make a video on it this year because this was my first year doing it. And so I had to do it first before I could be confident to say it to you guys. So, okay, what 2,500 are you guys talking about? Someone's got a garden 2,500 square feet, is that? Ronald Bay says, hello, I have some chicken manure that is sitting in some bags for about 2 years now that I received from a coworker. Is the manure still good to make some liquid fertilizer in a 5-gallon bucket? Absolutely it is, yes. Depending on what kind of bedding they used, if it's wood chips or if it's straw or hay or none, then, you know, that will determine its consistency. But if it's 2 years old, it's pretty much, you could use it straight on the garden probably, or yeah, go ahead and make a liquid fertilizer out of it. It'll be just fine. It is so long as it hasn't been exposed to the rain. That's what does it. It leaches it all out. So when people have like chicken coops and stuff, and I just went down to a friend's coop and cleaned it all out, and got a huge trailer load of old manure. I mean, it was like 8 inches deep in the place. Hadn't been cleaned out for a couple of years. I was digging down. Had to use a spade shovel along with the scoop shovel and all that. But it was under a cover, so it doesn't really matter. The nutrients don't really go anywhere. They just sort of marinate. And so then now that I put it on the garden and I mix it in with the leaves and stuff, everything's already starting to break down, man. Oh, it's so nice on the garden this year, guys. So I've got the earth after everything was harvested. Then I layered horse manure, about 3 inches of horse manure. And then I put on top of that some leaves, about 8 inches of leaves. And then I mixed in some of the chicken manure because I got it after the horse manure. So I mixed in some of the chicken manure with the top leaves and stuff, and then put more leaves over them. So there's like a foot of stuff, and that is just the most ideal way. In the years past, when I've been able to do it that way, that is what produces the best soil possible. Because then in the springtime, I'm just going to plant directly into it. And yeah, it's awesome. Thank you. He used straw as bedding. Okay, good. Straw is a good good carbon source. So it's pretty much compost, you could say. Compost is two materials together. Two or more materials together, excuse me. Two or more materials together that have decomposed together over time. So it's pretty much compost, really rich compost. Someone asked what I was drinking today. This is some cinnamon that my Buddhist monk friends, they are from Sri Lanka, and they get cinnamon from their village in Sri Lanka. Their family makes it. They strip it from the trees and all of that stuff, and then they send it to the monks who it's their family members, and they give it to me. So it's really, as a gift. So it's really, really good stuff. And so I cook with this stuff all the time. So I'll just bust one of these in half and then put it into a pot, and then also some cloves, and just the whole cloves. And I'll put, 10 or 15 of them in there with half a stick of that cinnamon and let it boil for 20 minutes or so on a light simmer. And then just strain it out and make the tea out of it. It's really delicious, really good for the throat. And so, yeah, I'm glad that you asked because I wanted to show you guys that. The cinnamon is delicious. Okay. Let's see. Mr. Nate, do you know when it is best to plant sweet potatoes in the most southern tip of Texas? I think with you guys, anytime. I think you guys can grow sweet potatoes year round, because in places like Florida, if you don't get a frost, then they will actually grow all the time. So long as it's not frosted. And sweet potatoes can be very heat tolerant. They can take scorching heat. They may shut down their production in the real heat of summer, but they will resume. So yeah, if it's scorching heat in the summertime, then you would want to put them in a place where they get some afternoon shade maybe, but you could plant them anytime, so long if you don't get a frost. And I don't think you do in the southern tip of Texas. Was that Corpus Christi or Laredo? Is that like Laredo area? So Joanne, hello, good to see you here, my friend. Wow, awesome gift of cinnamon. Oh, I totally agree. It's incredible. It's like the most, and it's not the kind of cinnamon like, it's the kind of cinnamon that is, think of like those little red hot candies. It's that type of cinnamon. It's totally different than the standard cinnamon, like from Cinnamon Toast or something. It's a real spicy kind of cinnamon. It's awesome. Reed of Urantia. Hello, Nate. Can I use compost from my composting toilet in my garden and what not to use on it? Absolutely, you can. That's the whole point of the composting toilet. You can, yes, so long as you're not using anything that is going to hurt the microorganism activity, which of course I'm sure you wouldn't. And what not to use on it? What do you mean? What not to use on what? And I checked out that book you're talking about, Urantia book. Man, it is, it's probably like this thick, isn't it? It's 2,000 pages. Yeah, I might have to get the Cliff Notes version of that one. Or maybe I'll get it sometime, but it will be one of those that will take me multiple years to complete. But yeah, I'm super open to all that kind of stuff. You guys have given me some really good book recommendations as well for soil stuff, and I'm all about books because if you watch my other channel, the Nate Murray channel, I'm explaining how I took this speed reading course, and I'm trying to give you guys the Cliff Notes on how to do the speed reading and all that stuff. And so I like burn through books. I mean, I love it. And so any of the books you guys tell me, for the most part, if it's within reason, some of them are quite expensive, but if it's within reason, I definitely will go for it. And I like to support people that are writing books, because I also am writing a book. And yeah, so based on you guys' recommendations, I got this one here and this one here as well. And so we're going to see. I've skimmed through both of them already. I'm going to actually read them though, but I've skimmed through them and it's cool. It's cool, Not a lot of new information jumped out at me, but I love to see, it's just great when, repetition is key. Repetition is key. So yeah, I'll be maybe doing little reviews on these books or something like that. But thanks to you guys, I went ahead and got these. I'm always open to absorbing new knowledge. Also the mushroom cultivation book, someone recommended this one to me. And so I went ahead and got it. And, because, check it out, guys. Check this out. I've got all different kinds of the mushrooms happening right now, okay? And this is the lion's mane. See, I had grown before. I had grown the oysters on straw in the buckets, and I had great success with that. I also grew way back in the day, I'm talking over 20 years ago, I also grew the magical kind, you could say, the old PF Tech. Do you guys remember that? Any of you know the PF Tech with the brown rice powder and the vermiculite, and you have to put it in the pressure cooker and all that stuff? You had to order the spores from Holland and everything through the mail. It was real, it feels so old school now, but because now the internet's just there, all the knowledge and all, you just click, boom. But anyways, you know that I'm all about experimentation because that's how you learn. That's how you get to the root knowledge, to the stuff that is actually going to, because there's information and it only becomes knowledge once it has been digested through the catalyst of experience, in my opinion. I just made that up. But that is when information becomes knowledge, is when you do it and you see, okay, so that does work. Or that doesn't work. And so, like I said, I had done the oysters in the buckets on straw a number of years ago, but this is my first time doing lion's mane in buckets. And so I'm trying all these different kind of things to get it right, because lion's mane have to be on wood, a hard wood. They don't grow on straw. And so I've got like 4 or 5 of these buckets right now, and they're all inoculated. See, this one's a lion's mane, oak saw chips. So I was getting some oak rounds ready for my wood-fired sauna tent that is on its way. Actually, it's going to be here on the 22nd. So I'm going to incorporate it somehow into a video so you guys can see it. But the wood-fired sauna. So I was cutting up some oak with my chainsaw and bringing it back so I can split it and get it ready for the sauna. And I was like, oh man, there's a huge pile of those real fine little chips from the chainsaw. And so I raked them up, and I think those are going to work really well because lion's mane like oak, and they're good wood chips. And so I went ahead and sterilize them, which is different than pasture. I didn't sterilize them, I pasteurized them. Pasteurize them is different than sterilization. Okay, sterilization happens with the pressure cooker, and you have to put them in a container and all of that. These I just did with the hot water method. Okay, and then I inoculated them. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. The guys at North Spore told me that will work. They told me, they said, yep, that'll work just fine. So here, then see, this is from a tree felling company. So these are a combination of oak and maple chips that I also inoculated. And those came from my neighbor's yard that had a tree fell, had some tree work done, and I took some of those and I did them in the same way that we did the straw. And so, see, I got a number of those things going on, so we're gonna know for sure, okay? And so that next year, when next year comes around and stuff, we'll be experts on it, won't we? I mean, kind of. So, all right, guys. Laura says, can I have a shout out to my partner, Neil? He loves your videos and always makes sure he's back in time to watch you. Laura Thornton says, can I get a shout out to Neil? Yes. Hello, Neil. Thank you very much for tuning in, my friend. You are appreciated. I'm glad that you guys are here and that you're benefiting from the videos. Let me know if you have video topic suggestions or whatever it might be. So there you go. I'd say that's a shout out. Joanne says, I like that. Knowledge is digested information. That's right. Through the catalyst of experience, right? Have to make it sound so poetic. So let's see. Jason says, we all started with PF Tech. Yeah. Yep. So he knows what I'm talking about. And Austin says, do these mushroom grows have a way of perpetuating the growth, or do we keep buying spawn? Well, that is the thing, is that to make the spawn is a much more involved process. Next year, I'll show you guys how to make the spawn, but it's much more involved. And most of you guys are just starting, and so it's much easier to just order the spawn because there's a much bigger degree for error when you're making your own spawn. I mean, things have to be really right. You have to understand the process first. Because I wasted so many syringes of the liquid spores before I understood all of this. And so at first, the first year, let us all just purchase it, and then we will make it last as long as we can. So we're going to take our buckets and stuff, and we're going to put them outside in a number of different places, in the woods and in the wood chip piles and stuff. And some of them will take. And so we will try to inoculate outdoor beds with them as well, which works. It definitely works. I've seen it done many times. But I don't know exactly if these ones are going to, we'll see. But yeah, for now we will, but eventually probably next year we'll do the thing where we take the spore print and then but we're going to have to make the flow hood and stuff. It's more involved, so. Now, as you guys get better though, as you get better with knowing what substrates work and your conditions, making sure that everything is not getting contaminated, you're doing all your procedures are right and stuff, then you will be able to utilize less and less of the spawn. So I recommend a half of a bag per 5-gallon bucket, which is it's a high spawn rate. Okay. But that ensures greater success for the beginner. But after you get your system down and everything is working, you can go with half of that even. You could go a quarter of a bag per 5-gallon bucket, or just for one of these, once your system is down, I'm not recommending you start like that, but for one of these 2.5 gallons, you could just do a big handful of it. So you could get like 6 of these from one bag of spawn, and that's going to last you. 6 of these spaced 1 week apart is going to supply you with mushrooms all winter long. And then come springtime, you're going to have 6 or 10 of these that you can inoculate in different places in the woods and in the garden and stuff. And you will get some that pop up. So it's awesome, but it's all about doing, observing, learning, recording, and seeing what works, and then sharing. So Successful Garden Design says, your spawn finally arrived today. All right, my friend. So make sure you sterilize that stuff right. Val says, I sterilize straw for the mushroom bucket. I let the pillowcase full dry for several days. Should I re-wet if it's too dry? Oh yeah, definitely. No, you need to sterilize it. So put it back into the put it back into the boiling water for an hour, not boiling, but 180-degree water for 1 hour. Take it out and let it drain just overnight. Okay, that's it. And then, or even just like 6 or 8 hours until you can pick up some of it with your gloved hand and you squeeze it and it just barely, some water drops out. You want to see that much. If you squeeze it, a few drops will come out, but not where it's just wringing wet. And you want it to be cool to the touch. So that is what I recommend. Definitely don't be trying to use what you got after several days. No. So let's see. Oh, Joanne says, ordered the big book of juices on eBay for $4. That's pretty good because it's like a $22 book. And that is a really good book. No doubt. Let's see. Okay. Becky Knight says, oh, I have the Urantia book. Found it at the thrift store. That's awesome. That's the way to do it, my friends. South of Corpus Christi, near South Padre Island. And thanks again. Yes, you're welcome. Oh, Ms. T, hello, my friend. Respect. Cinnamon and cloves. Great combo. Yes, absolutely. And let's see here. What's better? Jeremy says, what's better? Water-soluble calcium or diluted seawater? Or should I just use both? Well, they're good for different things because the calcium supplement is obviously for the calcium. Now, the seawater will have trace amounts of that, but not as much as the... nowhere near as much as the calcium supplement. So you would use both, but one doesn't replace the other, okay? So you understand what I'm saying? So let us see. Wow, glad I asked. Oh, yes, definitely, Val. You definitely want to do it. Deacon says, what is your book going to be about? You know, my book is about the transition. Well, in a nutshell, it's about my life before traveling. It's about after high school or throughout high school and everything when I was captain of the wrestling team and I was bodybuilding, bench press champion and all that stuff, and I was going to the Naval Academy. That was my goal, was to be an officer in the military and all of this, and I was in my honors classes and all of that. And then all of a sudden, boom, I got expelled my senior year of high school, and it just derailed everything in life. And I had never missed a day of school up until that day. I had 11 and a half years of perfect attendance. And then bam, got expelled forever and sent to a criminal school. And it was mind blowing. The 180 my whole life did. And so then I just drifted around for a number of years, working all kinds of different jobs. And I found myself at a factory, just deeply unfulfilled in life, and was like, oh my God. This wasn't supposed to happen. This just wasn't supposed to be what life was like. And I was like 21, 22, almost 23 years old. And then I made a decision to just quit everything. I quit the factory. I sold all my stuff that I had. Had a garage sale, sold everything, and bought a one-way ticket to Sri Lanka. And that kicked off 10 years of traveling the world. And so then I went through all of India and then to Nepal and climbed to the base camp of Mount Everest. And then got marooned for a year in the south of Thailand, an island called Koh Tao, where I became a scuba diving instructor and lived with this girl, this Austrian girl, and just all this stuff I never thought that life would give me. I never even knew any of this was possible. And lived all over in different places in the world, and then found Northern California and stuff like that. And so it's really about all of that. And then my time in Northern California, how so it's intense. So yeah, since you asked, I just wanted to say, with passion, what it's about. So it's about that whole process, about you get what you wish for in life, but be careful because it might be a lot more intense than you ever thought. And you might never come back from it in many ways. So that's what the book is going to be about, my friends. Good afternoon. Hello, Eric Trainer. Austin says, the lion's mane were delicious. $5. Thank you, my friend. And yes, how did you cook them? Did you cook them just like like I showed in the Instagram video, where it's just, you just fry it first without butter or anything or any oil, and then after it's nice and dry, then you add the oil. That's important. Okay. So Thanks for the answer. Your life experience and travel outside tourist places is gold. Oh my goodness. Yes, Ken. Worth gold. It's, I just could have never imagined what life has been like. So, double A, I have been here listening. Good afternoon, Nate. Hello, my friend. Glad that you are here. So, Busy Girl says, wow, that's a derailed end of high school and plans. Oh, absolutely derailed. And I thought that life was over. I thought, oh my God, I just can't. This is the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to me in life. And it was at the time. But then it just now, at this point in my life, where I am now, it has been the greatest blessing. It has been life's greatest blessing. Because I would have went into the military, definitely. And that was right at the beginning of the war in Afghanistan and all that. But yet instead I had all of these experiences, meeting all of these people and learning these life lessons. So I'm eternally grateful for all of that. I wanted to show you guys a couple of other things. So it's middle of winter and I'm still eating stuff like, here's the dehydrated kale. See? It's really concentrated. So the kale, I dehydrate it and then powder it for the wintertime. And I can just add a heaping tablespoon of this to my smoothies and stuff like that. Or to a dish, a soup if you need that. It's kind of intense, the flavor though, because 1 tablespoon of this is like a whole plant worth of kale. It's amazing how much. This is like a full-on 5 by 10 bed of kale with huge kale plants, and that's all it makes. So it really takes a lot. So it's really concentrated the nutrients. So you guys can do that. Also, here is celery, which is a really intense flavor. But this is took a lot of celery to make this, and I just dehydrate it and powder it. If I had it to do over again, though, so what I've learned over the years, though, is that so Unpopular Truth says, I like eating raw vegetables. Absolutely. The raw vegetables are the ideal ones, but it is the middle of winter here and we are not having any vegetables in the garden. So, but here is what I do now with a lot of them. I did this because I had to save space. I powdered it all, but ideally you keep it in the unpowdered form pretty much until you're going to use it because flavor and nutrients remain better. So this is smoked. These are smoked paprikas, Hungarian paprikas. And with a little bit of smoked onion and smoked garlic. And I smoke it for a long time, and then I dehydrate them. Hang on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It just, if you guys could smell that, it just smells like the smokiness of like a steakhouse. Wow, with like leather bound books and all the good stuff. It's so delicious smelling. So I then powder this and into this kind of thing as I need it. Because I use this smoked peppers in virtually everything. It is so delicious. What it does. And when I use this, I have people say, what did you put in this? Wow. And even my brother, who he has a Traeger and he smokes stuff. When I make a dish with this, he's like, this is incredible. The smoked flavor. It's because these peppers, guys, Hungarian paprikas, and also poblanos. These are the poblanos, okay? And they hold on. I mean, I char these things till they're crispy black. And what wood do I use? I use oak. I use oak for everything. I love oak. For some reason, it's just the flavor, the smell. It burns so bright and hot. It's wonderful. And I do it on just a Weber grill, just the charcoal Weber grill. And I'll just put a small little pile of charcoal, and I'll put a snake. I'll just like four pieces of charcoal deep, and I'll do it in like a snake, and then on the side of the charcoal, on the side of the grill, and then I'll just put big blocks of the oak. I don't use chips. I cut it myself, and I split it myself. So I use big like 4x4 blocks, and put that along the snake of charcoal, and that is what keeps it smoking. I mean, it just smokes and smokes because the chips, they just go up in flames so quick and you got to soak them in water and all that. But man, you put them big blocks on there, and then as the charcoal snakes around, it lights itself. It progresses around the stack of charcoal, and all those blocks just, and it's just bellowing out smoke for hours and hours. So it is lovely. And then once you dehydrate them, then they hold on to that smoke flavor. I mean, it tastes, it's just magnificent. I can't even. Oh yeah. And then put a little bit of onions and garlic in there in the smoker with it. And so it is, yeah, that's what I highly recommend, you guys. I got a couple of them that are not smoked though as well, that are just straight Hungarian paprikas. And yes, they hold on to that flavor real well. So I'll have tutorials on how to do that this year, guys. So yes, Ms. T says, I can smell that right now. Yes. I will show you guys how I do it this upcoming year, but it was a little overwhelming this year, you know, because there's so many things I want to do, so many videos I want to make, so many topics, you know, but you can only make so much because certain things you got to do now. Like you got to harvest the stuff today, or you got to do it, you got to make this stuff now. And to make a video about it, anything that you try to make a video about takes 15 times longer than it would to just do it, you know. So, do you dehydrate in a dehydrator? Yes, I do. I've had a number of different kinds. And yes, I do. Ms. P says, oh dear, late to the party. Would love it if you would set the notification an hour in advance, as sometimes we get it late or don't notice the time. Saturdays can be distracting. How would I do that? How would I set the notification? I should look into that because a lot of people say that. Oh, I didn't get the notification. I'm not sure how to do that, but I should look into that. Because then maybe I would just come on here at 11 and make the thing, and then yeah, maybe that would do it. I'll look up. I'll look a YouTube video on how to do it. Let's see. Norse Roots. Where do I get a beautiful shirt like that? You know, thank you. I am not sure actually. My friend gave this to me, and that's how all things, most of the best things are that way. And so I am not sure even where they got it from, but it's like fits perfect. And it's has the kolovrat, and it's ideal. So, Mom Computer, good to see you here, my friend. Unpopular truth, I've done that too. You can sometimes find old windows or siding, doors, and people's tree lawns, or garbage days, cheap and easy. Let's see here. Unpopular truth, what would you use to smoke? Nate is so expressive. Yes, it's because that's how much I feel it. Thank you for continuously sharing your knowledge. You're very welcome, Barbara. Unpopular Truth says, I used some old windows from my house remodel and made a tiny hothouse. And the food in there is thriving. Yes. Wonderful. That is good. Well, but what zone are you in? Because even here, that's not going to work. This is not going to work here. You know, like I said, it's going to be 6 degrees on Christmas Eve and stuff. So let's see, Mom Computer, hit the thumbs up button, folks. Help Nate grow this channel so he knows he's appreciated. Gratitude will do you good and will keep Nate and all his valuable info. Thank you so much, my friend. This person is very supportive, and so I deeply appreciate this person that goes by the name of Mom Computer. Thank you for always bringing the positive energy, you know. Iron sharpens iron, and it's great to have positive energy reflected and bounced off of each other, and it just increases the frequency. Yes. So, speaking of high vibrational, Ms. T, the gods guided you away from the military and into your destiny. Pure awesome. Thank you for the gift. You are absolutely right, and that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like, even though at that time I was like, no, I'm going to the military and I'm going to be an officer, and then I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and then all of these things. But it was like I was trying so hard to do it, but something else was telling me, no, that's not your path. That's not your path. It could have been, but that's just not what this life is going to be for you. So instead of learning how to kill people and of learning to be in the military, you know what I'm talking about, then instead, you're going to go and travel the world in a different way. And you're going to intimately see the intricacies of the human condition. And you're going to have all these unimaginable experiences that await you. You have no idea. So don't cry over what happened to you. Don't cry about any of that. Don't lament what you feel like you might have lost, because what you are actually being directed towards is 1,000 times more magnificent than what you were going to do. So you just have to be open and flow with it, right? So Let's see, Lukash. What would happen if you tried to use eggnog for lab? I don't know. Well, that's the best way to grow eggs is by fertilizing with eggnog. I know that. Psych. Let's see. Sorry, labor of love. Absolutely, my friend. Unpopular truth. It's a good busy, though, right? Fills up the spirit. It's a labor of love that pays dividends. Absolutely, man. Labor of love is what it's all about. Val, $10. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you. Appreciate the contribution. Thank you. Busy Girl says, I get them for 30 minutes in advance from different channels. Okay, so that must be what they do then. So they must sign up 30 minutes in advance. And then when it says like you've got 11 people waiting or something, so that must be what that means. That people have like clicked on it already or something. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Ken says, my chili plants are putting out flowers and fruit now, but I run climate controlled room. Okay, well, yes, that will happen if you are in the climate controlled space. Yeah. So, guys, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to these people. This is the list of people that have donated recently to the PayPal account using the link in the description. And deeply appreciate you guys. Even I try to respond on the PayPal. It says send this person a message, and I try to say thank you and stuff like that to let you know I received it. But no, not one person has responded back in that way. So I don't think it's actually working like I think it is. But either way, I appreciate it deeply, and just know that I'm seeing it, of course. Thank you very much to Aaron S., Dorina R., Lincoln, Joanne, of course, always. Jerry C., Maria from Central Texas. Mish, rhymes with fish. Now I understand. Thank you. Scott M., Christian E., Kirk M., Sally W., Denise P., Cynthia V., Samantha S., Cascadian Stones, and Rosa H. Thank you very much, my friends. I appreciate your support, and I'm glad that you're here. Okay, very glad that you're here. So let's see. Successful garden design. I think there's a preview or coming soon option to notify people of upcoming lives. I'll have to investigate that deeper because that would definitely help. Okay, Wade Fryman says, when gathering leaves, I might have gotten a few black walnut leaves mixed. Should I discard them? The thing about black walnut is the juglone. And so most of it resides in the roots and in the tree itself, but it also definitely has some in the leaves. Now, contrary to what some people say, I feel like the juglone affects everything. Now, there are certain things, it affects in particular the nightshade. So it affects the tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, and potatoes. So those will be real sickly looking. And I've had this happen just recently, a couple years ago. And I just could not figure out why. Because I can figure out what is going on. You know, in a garden, I'll go in there and I'll sense the things and I'll see the location. I'll ask a bunch of questions. I'll know. But this one, I could not figure out why these tomato plants were just looking like they were starving of water, but yet they were not. I mean, there was plenty of water. Everything else was fine, but they were just like, just wilted. And it was so bizarre until that's when I did the research into just 20 feet away. There was a whole like dozen of 80-foot tall black walnut trees. And that's how I learned about the juglone effect. And since then, I've come to an understanding with it. So I would say if there's a few leaves of the black walnut, I wouldn't worry about it. You know, if it's like 10% of the leaves or less, just let it compost in and everything. If it's mostly black walnut, I would not risk it. I would not risk it. So I would burn those and then pile other leaves on top is what I would do, because nothing wants to thrive around the black walnut. It just, no matter if it's totally affected by it or not, nothing is going to thrive around it, because that's the way the black walnut works, is it secretes these things so that it doesn't have competition of anything around it. And that's how, that's its defense mechanism. So, Let's see. Ken says, I had good experiences meeting and traveling with other single travelers as well. Good way to make contacts in other countries. Absolutely, man. Solo traveling. Solo traveling is the way that I was going to, the way that brought me around the world. Definitely. And because when you're with people, you tend to stay like in that sort of group and you don't venture out as much. But when it was just me walking through these villages and stuff, and people are like, who is this? Who is this crazy Viking looking guy? Who is this? You know, because when I travel in Asia, I'm clearly not a local. You know, I'm clearly not from around there. And so that makes it really easy to like get invited. I would go into villages and stuff and have people literally arguing over who got to host me, you know. So it was just, and then I would go back and they would give me the royal treatment, man, dinner and stuff. And in Morocco, these guys sacrificed, well, not sacrificed, but like butchered a goat, you know, in the halal way, with the hanging upside down. And I saw that, and you know, cut the throat and bled it out real good like that. And while they were doing the prayer, and then they did something that was unbelievable. That I'd never seen before. After the blood was all drained out of the goat and stuff, they lowered it back down because they had it hoisted up on a rope. They lowered it back down and then made a small slit in its underbelly and stuck in a bicycle air pump and just went and they pumped air underneath, between the skin and the flesh of the goat. And the goat literally ballooned up like that. And I was like, what is going on? And this is before the days of having all this filming stuff. I just visually had to watch this. You know, I couldn't record anything. And then after it was all ballooned up, took the thing out, made a small slice across the whole underbelly, and the skin just fell off the thing. I mean, it just shook the thing. It shook the flesh out of the skin. It was incredible. So yeah, I've never seen that before or since with the bicycle pump. Okay, and that was in Morocco. On the coast. I was riding my bicycle through Morocco. Let's see. That was Maggie who said, but same here. No more military and did traveling alone. So easy to get in contact with locals when alone. Absolutely. Let's see. I thought I saw, yeah, Mish. Hello, Mish. Hello, Nate. How do you suggest scaling up JMS in a 35-gallon pail? Do I just increase the amount of potatoes and leaf mold? Thanks so much. Yes, you pretty much do. Now, here's the thing with the JMS is that a lot of people want to get so specific and they'll get their scale out and they'll go, okay, well, you have to have 247 grams of potatoes per, you know, however many milliliters of just, it doesn't have to be, this is my life experience telling me this, it doesn't have to be that particular. Now, some people, if you want to take it that particular, you can, but just make sure that you got a good handful of potatoes and a good handful of the leaf mold and a couple of tablespoons in a 35-gallon drum, probably 3 tablespoons of sea salt. And I would say in a 55, okay, so I would say have about a half pound of potatoes and a half pound of leaf mold and about 3 tablespoons of sea salt. That's what I would do in there. And just make it like that, and it's going to work really good. Okay, and you could add a little bit more if you wanted to, or not quite so much, but it's better to add a bit more than not enough. Okay, you'll know that you've added too much. The only thing you can add too much of, well, sea salt, of course, but is the potato, and the only result will be that it's a little bit scummy, is that it becomes kind of slimy, and then you'll know that you use too much. So reduce that next time. But you can't go wrong. Half pound of potato, half pound of leaf mold, and 3 tablespoons of sea salt into that 35-gallon drum. Okay? So hope that answers it. Let's see here. Garth says, I just have a reminder in my phone and repeats every week. That is a good idea. That's a diehard. That's a true inner circle guys right there. Sets a reminder on his phone so he makes sure he doesn't miss it. That's pretty cool. That's a good way to do it because it's every week. It's every week at noon, you know, and I'm all about consistency. So that's what I'm trying to do. Speaking of consistency, I'm trying to do 1 video a week and then 1 live stream a week over the wintertime, you know, and it's been hard. It's been because there's so many things now to do and stuff. So that's why the videos have been coming out on Friday. I would like to get them out on Wednesday, but you know, you can't, now is the time to sort of go within And it's the everything is hibernating, everything is sort of recuperating and processing the season and the year, and sort of regathering strength and regathering inertia and momentum and inspiration. And so then when the spring comes, so it's going to be a couple of weeks or like a month of this kind of, just the feeling and everything. It's all about going inside, and doing the inner explorations, so that when the springtime comes and the outward growth, it's time to grow outwards, we have fresh reserves of energy and spirit and enthusiasm. And so that's what's happening right now. It's okay. It's okay if you don't feel like doing a bunch of stuff and all that. That's natural right now. Look at everything else is doing the same thing. And so we go within. It's okay. The short days, long, cold nights. It's okay. Just warm the soul. And then come February, March, April, stuff like that, then boom, we can explode with new growth and renewed enthusiasm, my friends. So, Atmosphere says, what do you think of using store-bought potatoes in the microbial solution, being that they're not grown organically? You'll probably be okay. The only thing is that sometimes they are sprayed with a sprout inhibitor. So I would do you'll probably be just fine. I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah. Try to find some organic ones. But one way you could tell is that you could leave the potatoes in a sunny window in like a warm place where they get good light for like a week, and they will sprout. If they're going to sprout, they will pretty much sprout. You'll at least see tiny little sprouts on them then. But if it's like a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and you see no sprouts and the potatoes just shriveling up without any sprouts, then they've been sprayed with this certain chemical that some companies put on it to keep them from sprouting in the store. So, but if it sprouts, then it's good to go. Yeah. So, Rachel says, yep, hunkering down to hibernate. Book reading time. Absolutely book reading time, guys. And if you're checking out my other channel, Nate Muri, where I talk about all different kinds of stuff right now, and I've told you guys that I'm just started reading this book, The Biology of Belief, from Dr. Bruce Lipman. Awesome. I mean, I've always been a big follower of his, and he's taught me a lot of things, over the internet, of course. And so I'm really excited to read this book, The Biology of Belief, which I've seen the presentations and all of that stuff, but the book, you just get so much more from the book. And when decades of this guy's life experience and research has gone into his book. And so I can download all of that in just a couple of weeks. It's really awesome. So let's see. Becky Knight says, store-bought potatoes work fine for JMS. Yes, they do. Let's see. The seasonal blues is a bummer. I buy seeds for therapy. Yeah, definitely. You can buy seeds for therapy. You can also grow things like the mushrooms or the microgreens or the sprouts, which we'll be doing microgreens and sprouts videos pretty soon. But also, you can do things like cold training, ice bathing, the wood-fired sauna, which is coming. So, yeah, all of those kind of things. I'm doing ice bathing every day, guys, out here in this tub. I have to break a hole in the ice and go into it. It's awesome. It's fantastic for what it does. And yeah, speaking of sprouts, so I wanted to show you guys this, is that I ordered two of these, 2 sets of these. The surgical stainless one, I'm trying them out, so that I can see which ones work the best. They're from Eco Peaceful, and they have, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I'm just trying them out so that I know. And they have apparently this kind of rings that will not rust, which is really great. And so they've got these things that we're going to put on to the mason jars, and then that's what we're going to use. I've got a number of other ones, but I don't like the other ones that I'm using right now. So I'm experimenting with other ones to see which ones are the best, so I can promote them to you guys. But I've been sprouting for years. I sprout all the time. But the part that's unfortunate about these, so they feel really good. They feel really good and solid, and they're apparently rust proof. Anytime something says rust proof, I'm like, okay. My life experience tells me nothing is rust proof, but we'll see. But here's the unfortunate part, is that I bought 2 packs of them, and they came together, and one of them was all smashed up and was missing one of these bands, which is like which is a very important part because it's the stainless steel band instead of the one that rusts. And it was missing one. And so I went on to the Amazon thing and was like, okay, here's a problem and stuff. And they're like, okay, great. We're going to send you a new one. Just make sure that you send us the old one in the package as soon as you get the new one and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to, I mean, the things were $9. I'm not going to package it up and take it to the store and then send it back and then pay for the shipping and all that. Forget all that. So I'm just stuck with it. I'm just stuck with a defective one, which kind of sucks. But that's what that's what things, it's the nature of the beast these days, I guess. But the quality of them feels really good, though. So that's what that is. Let's see. Ken says, sun gone below horizon 24/7 from 18th of November until 18th of January, totally hibernating under the Aurora Borealis. Whoa. So right now it is the dark time. It's dark day and night where you're at. That would be magnificent to experience. Man, how is your sleeping schedule and stuff? Okay, so it's a great book. The Honeymoon Effect is another good one from Bruce Lipton. Yes, I was wanting to. I will make my way to that one as well. Let's see. Store-bought potatoes. Okay. Let's see here. Nate, I'm considering raising mealworms for my chickens this spring. If some of the beetles get out, will they cause a problem for the garden? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Although I don't know for sure. Does anyone have experience raising mealworms? And if so, has any of them got out into the garden? And if so, what happens? I would think you would be just fine because I don't think there'll be a problem. So my Fit store says, request a free shipping label from them. It's their fault that your product has arrived damaged and you should not have to keep a faulty product. Yeah, I know. I definitely totally agree. I didn't know about the free shipping label, so maybe I'll go back and look at it. But I was just, once they were asking me for all that stuff, I was like, well, just forget it, But yeah, I shouldn't have to keep that defective product because I did pay for it. And that's the downside. One of the downsides of the Amazon world now is that, for years they've been able to undercut everyone else. And so most of the mom and pop places are just gone. I don't even know where to get this stuff anymore. Amazon's like the only place. I wouldn't even know where to go to get this stuff without Amazon, honestly. But that's the key. That's the key. That's what the whole business model is. Spend a decade putting everyone else out, undercutting everyone to the point where now everyone's out of business. So now then you can really just become relaxed on your service and stuff. And boxes look like they've been in a kickball tournament and stuff and all kinds of defective or products. Who cares? Because they're the only one available now. It's like, well, yeah, that's how it works. Okay. So Jeremy says 316 won't rust. We use 316 hardware when piping breweries. Oh, okay. So maybe it won't. So that means something. Yeah, that's right. The 316. So maybe it's truly stainless steel. You said you do it when they're piping breweries, so you would know. Then that's really cool. I will be interested to see how that works. Okay. Let's see. Layman's might be the place, Nate. I will check it out. I did not know anything about that. Well, and another thing is that, okay, so most of the links, like Amazon has this thing where you can sign up for the affiliate program and then you share the links on your social media account. And so anytime you see a link and it's like, okay, well, links are in the description and it takes you to Amazon, meaning me, because I signed up for the program, I get a small, it's like 2%, 2 or 3%, depending on the item, small kickback from that item. And so that encourages people to obviously promote the use of Amazon. And then it's so easy because they just give you a gift card back to their store. So you're not actually getting paid. You're just getting credits to Amazon account. So it's like, okay, so then you boom, and you just get credits at the end of the month, however much stuff you sold to your account. So that enables me to experiment with buying things like these so that I can experiment with them. and also buying all these books that I saw that you guys recommended that I got because you guys recommended me. That was all paid with the Amazon points, you know. So it enables me to do a lot of good stuff. So it's like, ah, man, they make it difficult on you, you know. That's still as good as money, right on that. Yeah, pretty much. It definitely is. The points are pretty much as good as money because then, like I said, I can get all this stuff and they've got so much. And I'm not the kind, I do not ever buy anything pointless unless there is because I already know the game. All the forces out there are trying to drain you of your resources so that you constantly just have to work and have it and just work and spend and work and spend and want and desire and all that. I left that years ago. You know, especially after living with and traveling and seeing the way that most of the world lives on so much less, and yet their level of satisfaction and peace, contentment with life is vastly beyond most Americans. So I understand that is, you know, the pull to drain you of your resources. And so for that reason, I only get stuff that I know is going to either teach me something or is going to benefit us in some way. So like all these books or these sprouting lids or stuff like that, I got a plan for all of that. So it's never buy frivolous stuff because they're just trying to drain you so that you constantly got to stress yourself out and work. So Atmosphere says one word, shroomery. Yeah, that's where I found, that's right, shroomery.org, I think, is where I found it many years ago. Let's see. And Amazon, but Amazon has its own guarantees. And if you complain to Amazon, it will sort it out for you. That's true. That's right. And, but I don't want to use up too many of those now because I did just someone sent me the totally wrong thing. And I was like, oh man, I contacted them and I was like, hey, you sent me the wrong thing. And they instantly refunded me and was like, sorry, honest mistake, just keep it and we refund you the money. I was like, wow, okay, great. So that's great service. But I don't want to do that too often, you know, about things. And this little thing's $9, you know, I'm not going to do that. So Scott Murray, hello. Great show today. Thanks. Yes, let's see. We got a few more minutes. It's almost an hour and a half, so my voice is getting a little bit hoarse. Wanted to show you guys a few more things. See, I still got cayenne peppers, got all kinds of good stuff. So the cayennes, I just dehydrate them and then crush them up as I need them all winter. Again, they keep more of their flavor and their potency if you keep them whole and then crush them up as needed. And I grow thyme and then I dehydrate it. And rosemary, dehydrate it, use it all winter long. And let's see here. Oh yeah, on the video about the plants and stuff, I was telling you guys that it's ideal to when you're doing hanging stuff like the pothos or the philodendron or the Swedish ivy, you don't put holes in the containers. This is important because you want to the way you water these things is you let them get bone dry until they just start to wilt, and then you flood the whole thing with water so that it's standing water in there. And then you don't touch it again for another, until it gets dry. It's like a month or even 2 months sometimes, a month. Until it needs watered again. So you don't put the drainage holes. Pothos, philodendron, and the Swedish ivy do not need drainage. They can sit as long as you let them completely dry out in between waterings. So see, this is what I'm going to do for Christmas for a number of people is to just plant them a nice pothos into a hanging container. And so those make really great gifts. And these all came from the big mama. So if you guys haven't seen the video I just made yesterday about the houseplants, check it out and you will see the big mama in the corner is the mother of all these other pothos that I have. So it's super cool how you can do that like that. And let's see here. Guys got any burning questions? And Richard says, I can't grow peppers to save my life. What? You should definitely be able to grow peppers. I'll do a video on it this coming spring. So if I could see the area and see your system and see, I would be able to identify very quickly what the issue is, I bet. So Deacon says, that video was awesome. Everybody, if you have not seen Nate's indoor plant video, check it out. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad that you liked it. Let's see. Some busy girl says some local stores like Ace Hardware are independently owned. I try to support local businesses as much as possible. Yes, I totally agree with that. And I do that as well. We are running into the thing, though, where there's a hardware store right down the road from me that is a local guy. And it is like the prices there are absolutely absurd. I mean, it is double or 3 times the price for some of that stuff than what it should be and what it is at just Menards, which is like right another couple miles further. So it's like, okay, well, I like to support the local people, but they are straight up gouging, it appears. I mean, you just can't consistently keep paying way more than is available down the road just to be supporting these guys, you know? It's so that's one thing I'm running into, but I'm always trying to get from local, you know? I'm giving away all of my indoor plants. I'll be traveling to house sit for my daughter. Oh, okay. Giving away all the indoor plants, huh? Make sure they're nice and vigorous, so give them a good strong dose of labs beforehand. 2 ounces a gallon of water of the labs and water the plants, and that is going to make them unlock the vigorousness, okay? So, okay, is it okay to ferment store-bought bananas? I read about them being sprayed with non-beneficial chemicals. Yes. Ferment them for what? And yeah, if they're non-organic, then they are definitely sprayed with stuff, no doubt. The banana peels can absorb a lot of the chemicals too. So, let's see. Nita says, what's your other channel, Nate? It's just called Nate Muri, and I put a link to it in the description of most of these videos, and there's also a link to it on my main page, and it's just called Nate Muri. Also, there's another one about the years of traveling and stuff called The Saga of Nate Muri. I also put a link to that one in the description, so if you guys want to check that out, check it out, and if you got any topic ideas for the other channel, Nate Muri, that we want to discuss, then please let me know, because that's what I need, is ideas. I just need some talking points, then I can go on about it. So, all right, guys, well, it's coming to a close, man. Let's see here. Any burning questions? Becky Knight. Let's see. And I'm now free, Val, air drummer. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for everything, and I will see you next time. Have a happy holidays. Although I will be coming here next week because it'll be Christmas Eve, but we'll be able to do it before the Christmas Eve party in plenty of time. So it's going to be next Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time. Same thing as always, my friends. So be well and stay loyal to the soil.